Hi there. I'm Alex. I wear hats inside. I play guitar a little bit too much, but it's a good thing. Other than that, what's today? Today's Thursday. 3/23/23. It's the week of palindromes.
Hell yeah.
Every day is a palindrome. Very exciting. Um, yeah. Ready to do some interview.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.
You want to do a little clap?
A clap? Oh yeah, we'll do a little syncing
Do a
clap.
little sync clap?
Hell yeah. Bringing it back to the days.
I miss doing the claps.
You miss doing the claps?
Yeah.
You miss having the clap?
Yeah. No.
Good. Oh, so you did have it.
No, I did not. My friend did, though, and we definitely ragged on him for it.
Nice.
He claimed that he didn't get it from having sex. He claimed that he got it from a toilet seat. And I was like, okay.
He's like, what are you doing with that toilet seat?
He's like, some of these toilets are too small. He's like, and my dick is dangling and like it's touching the inside of the bowl. And I was like, you need to figure that out. I'm like, that is not a normal problem.
Oh my gosh. That's great. I'm going to do it quick. That's the clap.
There you go, the clap. That's right.
What a story right
Yeah.
there.
So every time after he got it, we used to like when he'd come in the room, we would just give him like a slow clap. Like start like this every time he came in. And we definitely wore it out. It got tired, but it was funny for months.
Okay, we're recording. I honestly feel a little bad for your friend. I mean, the story, it doesn't sound very believable.
No, it doesn't at all.
For him, I sat on a toilet seat and my penis is just so large that...
I don't even think it was a large aspect. I think it was just the like the distance between...
Oh, yeah, I see.
He had a lot of distance between his butthole and his penis, and that's like,
Oh my god.
the toilets weren't meant for his body, so...
I think this is great because this is like the longest I've gotten to chat with you, right? Because it's always pretty quick over there. And I wonder what Alex is going to be like when we just sit down and talk.
There we go.
Into my buddy,
That's right.
That's awesome. Yeah, so, Alex, thank you very much for swinging over.
No problem. Thank you for inviting me.
TV Garden Studios. I don't
Awesome.
know. Yeah, so if you want to say really quickly, like, where we met each other and where you've been performing, I think that'd be pretty dope.
Yeah, we met at the Depot, and it's a great place. I found out about it online on the internet. I looked up open mics in Baltimore, and because of COVID, I kind of stopped playing out. I used to play. I would literally just go to bars where bands that I knew were playing.
Yeah.
And then just say, hey, can I come up and play a couple songs with you guys? And then COVID hit and everything kind of shut down. And then I would just play kind of like what I started doing, which is just in my bedroom all the time.
Yeah.
And then once everything started to loosen up, I was like, I need to get back out and start playing open mics again because it's been so long. But yeah, the Depot kind of popped up as one of the places. And I called a friend of mine. I hadn't been in there in years, and I think I'd been there one time. I saw that, and I called my buddy who, he's just always down to go to any event that I tell him that I want to go to.
Nice.
I was like, hey man, I'm going to the Depot. What do you think? He's like, well, I don't know. I haven't been there in years, but he's like, sometimes the vibe is cool in there. Sometimes it's weird. And I was like, well, if you want to come with me, I'm going to try to play, and hang out. And, the first time I went there, I was like, whoa, place is great. Full sound system, sound guy, every input that anybody would ever need, which most of the time is just a phone aux in. But, either way, it was cool. But
targeted.
Yeah. No, I'd use the same. For my little machine there, that thing is perfect. But I just love the fact that they're not afraid to make a lot of noise. So I was impressed the first time that I went about how loud that they put you through the system, and just the vibe in there is super cool, and everybody just wants to perform, and they want to hang out. But yeah, I think we met sometime.
Yeah, I've been going there for a couple months.
Yeah.
And I think even from, it was either the second one or third one that I went to, I saw you, and you didn't have your guitar that night. You just had your little. What is it called? That little synthesizer.
It's K-oscillator.
The K-oscillator.
The K-oscillator,
I
yeah.
went there with the K-oscillator, and I was like, I know my life is about to change right now. I'm gonna hear some like godly shit, and it sounded like whale noises almost. Like it was like this really low, like droning note.
Oh,
and it just
yeah.
kept, like, building on it, and I was like, this is like incredible. It was so musical, and it was like. I liked how, like, as you were performing with it, like, the song was transitioning. Like, it didn't just feel like a loop. It was like, no, it was that's what I mean when I say musical. Like, it's very expressive. And then once I saw you with the guitar, I was just like, oh my god, like, this guy's insane. You know, he just comes here and he just does crazy shit. So yeah, it's probably, maybe like a month and a half was like the first time I met you.
Okay, yeah.
And then we've chatted a little bit over there, but it's like a loud open mic, so this is like the first time we've really gotten to like sit down and just kind of chat.
True.
And for the record, Alex is cool as fuck. Very cool guy.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's awesome.
You started going to the depot with your buddy. So you said that you would just go to like shows where people that you knew were performing and stuff, and you would just go and play. So I was curious, like, what is your background with the guitar like? Were you like classically trained? Did you teach yourself? Like, what
definitely taught myself. I started playing because my best friend from third grade and on, like we went to like kindergarten together through high school. Mm-hmm. His older sister got a guitar, and she would just learn these Metallica songs.
Nice.
So she played like Sad But True, Enter Sandman, a couple different Metallica songs, and I was like, that is the coolest thing in the world. Plus because she was a girl, like she would play at like things at school, and everyone was like, you're the coolest. So when she wasn't home, I would go into her room and take her guitar and just like plug it in and mess with it.
Nice.
So I think like the first song I think I learned was like Smells Like Teen Spirit. Nice. I was like, yeah, I got it. But yeah, a lot of learning by ear. But then if I couldn't do that, I had like subscriptions to like guitar magazines, and I would just read the tabs. But a lot of it, the older that I got, the more I was like learn by ear. Because once you internalize that, like then you kind of have a better handle on what you want it to sound like and where you want it to go. But when I was in college, I had like 3 minors because I was just like, oh, stack it up, it's a good reason. And I didn't.
Oh, minors like degrees.
Yes.
I thought you had 3 kids at that time.
Oh no,
like,
no, oh god, that would be.
You just started going to town.
No, thank goodness, thank goodness. That's some alternate parallel universe.
No, so you're 3 minors.
Three minors, yeah, like the film video major, and then it was bullshit too. It was art history, Russian, and music. But the music was funny because like they make you do these ensemble credits, right? Mm-hmm. So a couple of my friends were like, dude, you have to join the gospel choir because it's like the easiest way to get the grade. You go in there, and I was like, great. Of course, my vocal range is awful. I'm a baritone, so I'm not a bass and I'm not a tenor, and everybody loves the tenors. The basses are cool because they're so low, and I'm like trapped in between where I can't hit like 1 out of every 10 notes I can't hit on the page. But it was super fun. But I did take 2 semesters of jazz guitar lessons, but that was brutal because we had to read music out of this book and show up and and play.
Was it the real book?
We did have he didn't give me a real book, but I did have one. It's called like Melodic Rhythms. A lot of people use that thing, but I would literally read each measure and like face FACE and learn each measure on the guitar, and then I'd memorize the whole piece, so I didn't have to read it. And then when I'd come in to play it for him, I would play the piece from memory, but I would look at the page. And he's like looking at me, right? And I'm just like trying to pretend to scan, but I'm terrible. Yeah. But everything I did with him was all like I had to memorize what I was doing.
Wow.
So terrible reading music. awful at it, but I managed to squeak through.
That's good. Did he give you a hard time about that, or was
He didn't know.
That's okay.
He gave me more of a hard time because I missed like 2 weeks in a row.
Oh, nice.
Because it was like the time when the end of the year you got to get your like films in, and I had like film schedule that I had to go shoot stuff during the school week, and I'll never forget. I emailed him and I was like, "Hey, I'm not going to make this week." He's like, "Okay, fine," and then he missed the next week, and then I couldn't do the week after that or something. So it was 3 weeks in a row. So then he emails me and he's like, "Hey, there's no way that I can give you a good grade because you literally missed like a third of the classes, because 3 out of however many, there aren't many." And I was like, "Man, I need to get a B." And he's like, "I don't think I can even get you a C." And I was like, I just can't accept that. Like, we have to do something else.
Yeah.
So the last thing that he had me do, he was like, pick a jazz solo from a song and then transcribe it, like write it out.
Gotcha.
So I picked like a Miles Davis tune from like Kind of Blue, because I was like, at the time I was just kind of getting into jazz. So I was like, this is Baby Jazz 101. I can play this, nothing crazy. And I came in and he gave me this whole long speech where he's like, "So I can really only give you like a C, but it's going to be a low C. Like you're going to get like whatever. Like, biggest part about being a professional is showing up, And I was like, dude, I do not need to hear this.
Bro, get fucked. He was literally gone for one of those weeks.
Yeah, but he was a known asshole. Like, nobody liked him. No one.
Sometimes you get that with music teachers for some reason.
Yeah.
You get the really cool down to earth ones, and then
best thing ever.
Yeah, because they're like, they know they've done all the bar gigs and shit, and then sometimes you get people on their high horses. When I was in high school, our conductor, I quit band because the conductor was like, he would scream and rant at us and smack the thing, and he was like, "If you aren't in band, you're gonna end up in jail."
Yeah.
I was like, fuck off,
If
dude.
you aren't in band, you're gonna end up in jail.
I checked out mentally. I was like, the band was great.
That's awesome though.
But it was like, he was just so terrible to be around.
Yeah.
So I feel you. I feel you. That really sucks that guy was like that. But definitely, like the jazziness of your performances is something that really stuck out. There's like a real jazz, like bluesiness. And so that was why I was wondering if like you had any kind of like jazzy mentors or anything like that.
The biggest thing that I learned from that was chords, because he made me learn the chord shapes for all the additions for the jazz chords.
Hell yeah.
And that kind of like blew my mind a little bit, because at the time, I was playing in like a group that played on campus at the school, and like we were not. I want to say that I was considered the band leader with the singer.
Nice.
But I was a terrible band leader. We would have a gig and I'd be like, "Guys, like here, I'm going to send you the songs. We're going to meet like 2 days before we play and we're just going to work them out." Right? I was so terrible.
Nice.
And I kind of like, I didn't take it seriously.
Yeah.
I was like, we're here just to play and have a good time.
Yeah.
But people loved it. People thought it was so cool. So
Nice.
at the time I was doing that, and I already kind of had like a little bit of an ear about what I wanted things to sound like. But just doing a little bit of jazz transcription of like actually writing that stuff down, kind of was like, oh, now I get it. Like now I can see how this and that interact, and that blew my mind open to, it doesn't need to sound like, it doesn't need to stay in the same key, it doesn't need to do this. Like there's a lot of like textures and colors you can throw in there. I don't attribute any of that to him. Like I just attribute it to the mindset that you get in when you have to like, I was like sitting down like memorizing these pieces that I had to read, and that was all internalized just from that. But it was great because that last lesson that I had with him, when he gave me that, literally our lessons are 50 minutes, and the first 20 minutes he's giving me a speech. And then I'm like, okay, you ready to hear my homework, And he's like, yeah. So it's like a horn solo. It's like a trumpet solo.
Nice.
So I play that, and he's like, cool. cool. And I was like, oh yeah, I keep going. Like I do the sax solo too.
Yeah.
So I played the sax solo, and he stops me in the middle because he's like comping, playing the chords underneath for me.
Yeah.
And he stops me in the middle, and he's like, what is your major?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, film, like art, visual arts, photography, all that stuff. He's like, you have a great ear. He's like, the way that you're playing these solos, he's like, that sounds great. He's like, you're not a music major? And I'm like, no, and you know that because like I had to argue with you for 2 semesters to get into your class because he said I don't teach minors because they don't show up and they don't do their homework. So literally it's like pulling teeth to get to him, and then he just like literally would like lambast me every other week. So finally this last one, the last hurrah, I just shoved the whole pie in his face, and I was like, here you go, buddy. And he's like, yeah, man. He's like, you know what you're doing. He's like, you have a really good ear. He's like, it's actually like really cool.
That's good.
And I was like, thanks, man.
Yeah.
So that was the cherry on top of the shit cake.
Nice.
That was studying jazz with this guy for 2 semesters. But
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. That's pretty. I mean, would have been cool if he would have just had like a cool music teacher off rip, but at least at the end he acknowledged that like you're good, you know, like he wasn't like just shitting on you just to shit on you for your musicality. For the attendance stuff, that just sounds like bullshit. But yeah, that's pretty cool, honestly. So after college, so how long did you go to college for? Did you go like a full 4 years?
Full 4 years. Yeah, I mean, with all my little stupid minors, I probably could have finished in 3.
Mm.
And then the first semester of my senior year, my 4th year in college, I was kind of cruising pretty fast, and then I dropped a class because like I just wasn't showing up to class, you know. And my professor was like, "You're not gonna get a good grade in this class," and I was like, "Can I drop it?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." Nice. And then a couple of more things happened. Then like my last semester, I decided to take the minimum number of credits and not finish any of the minors and just like ride out in the sunset. So I have something like, if you look at my transcript, I'm missing like 1 class from each of the minors that I totally could have done in my last year that I was like, nah, fuck it. Like none of this is actually going to make a difference in my life, much less the degree. You know, I was like, it's not, unless I'm going to grad school, it's not going to make a difference. And if you go to grad school for art, they don't care about your stupid minors. They care about what your work looks like. So I was like, my portfolio, you know, that's the most important thing. But yeah, I just said fuck it all and just kept moving.
Hell yeah. Okay.
But yeah, 4 years.
So did you end up getting like for your major degree like in film?
Yeah, I don't remember. They changed it like mid-program, so I think it was called like Bachelor of Arts, Cinematic Arts, I think is what they called it, you know. Yeah. And I was like, cool, whatever, you know. It's like I was just happy to have the degree.
Nice.
You know.
That's awesome. Okay, and so then, I'll do like a quick blinky on the camera to make sure it keeps recording. Here we go. So after college, did you like stay in the area? Did you ever like travel and live anywhere outside of Maryland or anything?
No, I pretty much stayed around here. I grew up in Baltimore County, just like east of the city.
Nice.
And then once I got to college, I was like, no reason for me to live at home, so I would do everything possible to not be at home.
Yeah.
And then I graduated, and then I moved back with my parents for like as long as I could take it, which was I think 6 months was the limit. Yeah. And then I was like, I'm going on Craigslist, and I'm looking for somebody who needs like a sublease, you know, take over. And then I moved to an apartment in the city, and then I've been hopping around ever since. Okay. But I didn't live in college. I went to Arizona State for like 2 months in a summer.
Nice.
Just to get some of those sweet Russian classes to get my minor done that I never finished. But that was a great experience. But other than that, yeah, pretty much stayed in Baltimore.
Wait, what's up with the Russian? Are you Russian?
I was born there.
Wow.
Yeah, I was born there, and adopted. I have
Okay.
like American parents.
Wow.
So my sister and I were both adopted. I was like a year old. I think she was 2.
Mhm.
So I definitely didn't know any Russian then, and
Right.
even if I did, I wouldn't remember it. So,
Nice.
but when I was in high school, I was like, I like languages. Languages are fun.
Yeah.
And then I got to college, and I was like, well, I'll try Russian out. Maybe it's fun. But I just had good teachers, so they kind of kept me in it.
I feel a synergy in your interests, because that's how I feel when I think about like film and music and languages.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's this kind of, it's beautiful learning all of them, you know, like communication and like how you represent yourself and like put your thoughts out into the world and the mediums that you use to do that. I think like the more ways that you learn or experience or see to do that, the more it helps you figure out what like your style of communication is,
Yeah.
or your music, or your visual style and stuff. It's very exciting. I just think learning is good, you know. Like,
Learning is good, yeah.
degree or no degree, like just always having that learning mindset keeps life interesting. So you're not just like, life is just an office job, and then I go home and I have my wife and she makes me food.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, the cool thing with Russia too, they have a city called Sochi.
Yeah, they do.
So I took my name from like the old Aztec language, but it's like a kind of a cool coincidence that they have a city called Sochi over there.
Opposite ends of the world, but they definitely,
That's how badass I am.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Civilizations that didn't even know me named places.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Nice. So, what was it? Did you ever feel like weird, like being an adopted like kid?
No. Never. I mean, I don't know. I guess the questions that I got asked the most were about like, how long have you known that you were adopted?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's never not been known. It's always kind of been like a part of my upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
My sister and I look nothing alike, which helps.
Okay.
You know, that's like, hey, both of you were adopted, you know.
Oh, okay. Earlier I assumed that it was your biological sister.
We're, no, not biological.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yep. So, you know, you're in school and they're like, you guys aren't brother and sister, you know, and it's like, yeah, we are, you know, and then you got to go through the whole spiel, you know, but like that was never a mystery, you know, like it was not like, oh yeah, but as far as identity goes, it's fun because it's like something that if it serves me to be American, you know, I can be like, American parents, man, I didn't grow up in Russia. But if it serves me to be like, yeah, I'm from a different place, you know, like then I'm was born in Russia, you know.
Hell yeah.
Gotta
get that code switching going on.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. It's fun to wear hats. Now is not a popular time to wear the Russia hat.
Yep.
So definitely put that away. You know, that's gonna sit on the shelf for a long time.
That's what you meant at the beginning of the interview. I like to wear hats.
Yeah. Not just this guy.
Yeah.
But
oh jeez.
yeah, no.
Oh man, that's pretty brutal, but it is true.
It's so true.
Yeah. So, do you think that like knowing that you were adopted early on, do you think that helped and like there was never like a ripping the Band-Aid off kind of moment?
No.
Okay.
No.
Gotcha. That's pretty cool, honestly. Yeah, honestly, I think adoption is like in the future, I would really like to be in a position where I'm able to adopt a kid rather than have my own. Because I'm just like, there's people who are here, you know, why not just like give them a chance rather than like, I need someone with my genes.
There are a lot of kids that need like parents that like give a shit.
They need parents, and the foster system is so brutal.
Yeah.
I had a buddy who was in the foster system, and I was just like, holy fuck, like
Yep.
the instability, like the school instability. Sometimes not all the parents are doing it for the same motive. Some of them
You can't even keep the same friends for longer than like 6 months at a time sometimes, and that's like just insult to injury as far as like any kind of stability in your life. It just is not there.
Yeah, it's nothing feels permanent, and I'm sure it's really stressful. So it's good that it sounds like you came from like a pretty cool kind of like background with your older sister, or like
older. Yeah, she's
older adopted
a year older than me. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, that's pretty dope. You think you're ever gonna like have kids or adopt kids one?
Yeah, I mean, like when I was younger, I used to be like, let's get 5 or 6 of those motherfuckers going, because I was like, that sounds great. But then I realized like the price tag on a child's head, and I was like, I'll never have a job where I can afford that.
Yeah.
So
normally people like make the kids; they don't go out and buy them.
yeah, but
So
even
maybe that would've
if
shifted.
you make them, you gotta pay for them. They're expensive,
Yeah,
like.
yeah. What is it like over like $100,000 to raise a kid from like 0 to 18 or something?
Oh no, it's definitely like $1 million.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's crazy, and I mean, it's just getting worse. But yeah, I do want to have kids. I do work for this guy, and he's probably 50. He's probably in his mid 50s, and him and his wife had 2 daughters when they were like both 47. And I was like, how did you do that? He's like, you freeze the eggs. But he's like, if you're not early enough on that, you can do the in vitro. And he's like, so we did in vitro. My wife, like, it's some other lady's egg, but they're like, you can pick who you want. You can look at like full profile. They even have like this like AI software where they can let you know like how they're gonna look when they're older. And I was like, that's wild.
Yeah.
So he did that, and I was like, great. So now you and your wife are both like 58 or something, and you have like an 8-year-old or whatever, And he's like, yeah. I'm like, why did you do it so late? He's like, because she told me. She's like, have kids with me or I'm leaving. And I was like, what a wild thing. I mean, like, this is a 47-year-old woman. But I don't think it's ever, I mean, it gets a little bit dicey when you're like, if you're pushing a walker at the high school graduation, having like an older parent can be specific. But yeah, I'm not necessarily in a hurry, but I think having kids would be awesome. I also don't mind adopting, because I'm also like, yeah, sure, cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always felt like mid 30s would be maybe like a ideal time to have kids, because you're kind of established in whatever work you're doing. You know yourself and your partner hopefully pretty well.
Yeah.
Rather than like my parents were like 21 and 23 when they had me, and like they made it work, and they have a marriage, and they've kept it going, and I have a lot of respect and love for them. But also like you could have avoided some of the growing pains.
Yeah.
If things had been a little bit later in life.
That's true.
I have like an aunt and uncle who waited until they were like 40 to have kids, and everybody does it differently, and as long as like your heart's in the right place, you usually they turn out okay. As long as they're not like running around skinny cats or something.
Oh man, I got a cousin, and he had kids when he was young. My sister also had her son when she was like still a teenager. And like the nice thing about that though is that like when your kid's 18, like you're still cool enough.
Exactly.
Like there's pluses and minuses to it, but yeah, I'm definitely in the let's get stable first. Like let's make sure that I'm on stable ground, cuz now I'm in the sweet spot. If I would have had kids in my 20s, it would have been something that like, I would have figured it out, cuz you got to. Right. But the pressure is that turning off?
Oh, maybe it did this. Did you stop, you goober? Did you stop recording, Stinky?
Probably.
Oh, what the heck? Oh! Yeah, I know what this is. Yeah, I'm a professional. I'm a real
that's good.
Professional. Because I uploaded all of the... here, give me...
Oh, is the card full?
Yeah,
nice.
I uploaded all of the. Okay, we're gonna take a.
Yeah, we could take 5.
Break. Nice. So we are back. That definitely was. It was only 2 minutes.
It's only a couple minutes.
It wasn't 15 minutes where Alex told us amazing stories
no.
biking across half the country and then the other half the next year. But
small beans in the grand scheme.
That's a seed for the next time you get to do it.
Yeah, right. That's right.
That's so fucking sick. So you kind of mentioned like doing the jazz classes helped you figure out your style, or learning by ear. How would you describe like your musical style, or what you want it to sound like?
I would say like background blues. for sure. Like always,
Yep.
growing up, I played heavy metal. Just 'cause there's a lot of noise.
Yeah.
Blues was always the first like album that I got as a kid from my soccer coach. Was like a Johnny Winter, best of Johnny Winter. And Johnny Winter is blues guitarist from Texas, and he's albino.
Oh.
And he has a brother named Edgar Winter.
Wow.
And but yeah, Johnny Winter is just a crushing guitar player. So I heard that first, and I was like, "This is where I need to be."
Yeah.
So plus, it's just easy to play. There's really only 3 chords you ever really need to know for the blues, and I like playing it because you have a lot of flexibility. You know, like it was a good fallback. Keys not changing a whole lot. You can kind of make up the words. I feel like with country music, you know, like country music, I've never really been a fan, but country music is appealing because it's like just the story of like
Right.
human suffering.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's like what the blues is. So a lot of that like emotion kind of like really dug into me when I was younger. But then like R&B soul singers kind of have a big influence on me as far as like how I like to play. Other than that, influence wise and style wise, if someone asks me like what kind of music do you play, it's kind of hard to say because doing electronic stuff, I don't lean towards making drums that fit with blues or R&B.
Right.
I lean towards like more used to do a lot of boom bap and hip hop stuff because it's just cool to play like Jay Dilla shit. But now I think it's kind of moving along. I mean, a lot of different things. Guitar style, though, would definitely say blues, R&B, jazz, because there's, you know, people are like, you're a jazzy player. And I'm like, that's because sometimes there's more than 5 notes going on at once. Like, but that's where it stops. Like, I mean, it's just the easiest way to describe something that doesn't have like 3-note chords is jazz.
Did you modulate?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I'm the worst person. This is like the bike thing.
Yeah.
Like bicyclists would see me, we would talk, and they were like, "Hey man, cool. Like, look, I got this gear. You know, this is what my chain ring. This is what I got going on here." And I'm just like, right over my head. I'm just like, you know, mine's got 2 wheels. It's got the pedals. When something breaks, I can usually fix it because I'm mechanically minded, but like I could not tell you what my gear ratios are or any of that. Same with guitar. People are like, "Oh, you did a nice metric modulation there."
Nice.
And I'm like, I know what that is, but I'm not going to talk like that because
I
like
see.
theory is weird to me.
Yeah.
Makes sense, but the whole point of theory, music theory, and having all that written down is so you can communicate to other musicians what you're doing.
Right.
It's not there to like have like a little powwow and talk about how much shit you know. Like the music itself, that's why all my roommates when I was in college and all that shit, they're all musicians. Like had like a classical bass player, lived with a jazz sax player who did nothing but jazz. And between the 3 of us, it was like cacophonous sound in the house because we're all playing 3 completely different things in different rooms. But they're all about have to read music. They all know the theory, but we all unanimously agree that like it's not necessary.
Yeah.
For most musicians too, it just depends on what you want to do. Like if you want to play in an orchestra, you gotta know how to read music.
Right.
You know, I never got any gigs playing guitar for anything. I tried out for like a couple like musicals for like the band for a musical.
Cool.
I tried out for like the jazz band. I tried out for like the church band at my high school, and just could never get in because as soon as they found out I couldn't read, they were like, "You're not going to be able to do this well." And I was like, I can read enough to memorize it.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, we're going to make changes to stuff in practice, and you need to know where we're at." And I'm like, again, like, not a big deal. Probably for the best that I didn't get into those things, but because I wouldn't be where I'm at now.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I love a great phrase that I heard was music theory is descriptive, not prescriptive. Like,
Yeah, that's
you're
great.
describing something, you're not making rules for how to do something. It's
Yeah.
like, look at this amazing thing that this composer or jazz guy on the piano did just by ear. Here we can talk about it now, but like getting sucked into like this is how you make music, and
Yeah.
if you are doing anything different or if you don't know all the words, you're not a real musician. Like that's stupid.
Yeah.
You know? Like it's a cool tool to have, but I think that like learning by ear the way you did it
Yeah.
is definitely the way to go. I hit the books, you know. I hit the books. I took a music theory class, and in college, there's like the jazz piano site. It's just like a bunch of music theory for jazz. So I learned a bunch of like words, but didn't really put into practice to like just hear them. And I really wish I'd done it the other way around, because now it's like I'm starting from scratch. Like I have a couple guitars, and I leave a guitar at work, and I'm like, I'm learning this to play it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care if I know like all the words. I just want to be able to like play live.
Yeah.
Because with my keyboard, I'll make cool stuff and like I'll listen to where my ear wants to go. But like in a live setting, I'm not practiced for like playing keys live. And now that I'm doing more live music, it's like it feels like such a crutch, and I'm like, it's time to switch it.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of respect for musicians who like learn by ear or whatever. I think it's better to have that like in your body than like in your head. You know what I mean? I think that's super sick. So what do you like what role do you want music to play in your life moving forward?
It's a tough question to answer. I've always been the type of person where you know, like playing guitar scrunched up in a closet, you know, with all your clothes.
Yeah.
In the dark was always like appealing to me when I was a kid. Like playing in my room, you know, like that was always great. The performance aspect, playing for other people, is always super fun. And it's always like, I want to show people with the cool stuff that I can do. But the older that I got, the more that I thought about it. Like, this is one of the reasons why I didn't go to school for music, because everyone was saying, oh, it might get burned out or whatever. You don't want to get burned out. So it was always kind of like this nice little therapeutic space for me, where no matter what was going on, I could go and sit down with a guitar and play, and that's kind of like my little space.
Right.
Not a happy place, but just an emotion place where I can go there and just disappear very quickly too. It happens like it's awesome. It's amazing. So I always try to keep it there, but you know, like my my roommate told me one day, we were still living together. He's like, you know what would be really sad? I'm like, what would be really sad? He's like, if like none of the shit that you play has ever been recorded and you don't have anything like to show for it, like what you do in your room alone that nobody gets to hear. And I was like, well, you know, I mean, like, to each their own. Like, I kind of don't do this because I want to be a rock star. You know, maybe when I was a kid I did, but now it's kind of a nice little space. As far as it goes now, the job that I do, like, my body will wear down.
Right.
It's not like it's not something I can do until I'm 80. So I kind of would love to play music for a living.
Oh yeah.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Or compose, like write for other people.
Yeah.
Hard to do when you can't read music, but you can write it and hire somebody to write it down. You know, I got friends that can read and write.
Yep.
You know, but it'd be awesome if I could play, you know, like for a living and get paid to do it. Because I love performing.
Yeah.
I actually think it's like really fun, like just the butterflies, the energy that you get on stage, the atmosphere to me is like untouchable. Like it's just so good.
Yeah.
And it's a space where like losing myself in it. Never realized this, but like I played an open mic at like this outdoor restaurant.
Yeah.
And like there were 3 people there, like just eating dinner.
Yeah.
3 tables, 5 people. 2 bartenders, maybe a waiter, waitress, like wandering around.
Right.
And I was like, okay. And I like go up there. I'm like, hey guys, I'm gonna play some songs, you know. And I just like sat down and played, and then I stopped, and then I was like, thanks everybody. And I go back and sit down at the bar, and I'm like, let me get a cold beer. It's time. And this guy comes up to me with his girlfriend, and it was kind of a shame because it looked like he was definitely like dragging her along, like, come on, dude, talk to this guy. He was great. And he's like, hey man, where do you go when you do that thing? And I was like, you mean like upstairs, like mentally, like, or like, because I didn't go anywhere. I was sitting. He's like, you literally just look like you just like left your body like momentarily while you were doing your thing there. And I was like, that's interesting to hear. I was like, no, I mean, when I play, I just kind of like, it comes from a place. It's a channel thing. It just, but that's why you practice a whole bunch. And then when I get on stage, I'm like, I don't really know how this is going to go. We'll see what happens. But it always ends up differently if I play live, because my mindset is different than if I were to play in my room where I'm just noodling around. But long term, it'd be amazing to make music and make money, so I don't have to have 2 jobs.
Exactly.
You know, to do everything. But
right, that makes sense. Well, I 10,000% hope that you do music full time, because like when I get to see you at the open mics, it's so inspiring. I'm just like, how? You know,
thank you. That's awesome.
It is the most wonderful thing to see somebody who has music just so like ingrained into their DNA, and like just this conversation has impressed in me just how much like music is like an aspect of yourself when you're talking about like that channel or that emotional space. And like there's so many like people in life who never find a passion like that or an outlet like that, and it's like if you find it, the way that I feel is like go for it, because like,
oh yeah, I used to bury that shit in the backyard. Like, you know, you get money and you're like, I'll bury it. No, like you shouldn't. But I was always same thing. Like when I found out that I was like, when I was younger, they're like, oh, you're good at your instrument. I was like, oh, thank you, that's very like blushing all the time, like, oh, I'm not really that good. I'm always hard on myself about it. But now I'm a fucking goddamn adult. And I know how to like be cool about that shit, you know? And I'm like, but really, the hardest part about it, especially playing blues, I never wanted to be a John Mayer type white guy playing black man's music and selling out stadiums. Like, don't do that. Like, no. Like, I was always like, I never want to be that guy. I don't want to make money on the shoulders of other people's like, you know, you want to dig back and look at the roots of where the music came from and then just what you're doing with it. No, I don't want to do that. Right. So I try to stay away from it. Singing is a fairly recent upgrade for me. Like, never really did it until last year. I just started like singing out. It's really uncomfortable for me. I feel like super naked because it's just different. You know, it's like the sound that comes out of your body. You know, guitar is something I can physically hide behind. Much easier, but voice always scary. But what helped with that is karaoke.
Oh.
I started going to karaoke
and just getting shit faced and going up there and being like, you know, whatever, sing what's that? Just go up there and sing like a bunch of R&B songs and be like, oh, okay, well, if I suck, so does everybody else, and we're all here to have a good time. And if anything, it's kind of disheartening. I would go up there and sing like an R&B song, and I'd be like, oh, I think I sounded pretty good, you know? And then like I never realized that like sometimes people would like kind of like look at me and they'd like avoid eye contact or whatever when I was finished, and I was like, sounds weird, you know? I'm just like, I'm the guy that goes to the karaoke bar alone, goes up there, sings one song, drinks 3 beers, goes home. But then people are like kind of intimidated because I dress like I dress like I work on cars, and then I go up there and there's like, just like if there's like an ounce of soul in there, they're like, wow, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't need that extra attention. But now I do like the idea of singing and playing guitar. I used to play in all these bands, random, just shit little projects that were never particularly put together throughout high school and college. Nothing crazy, nothing that went anywhere. But after I got out of college, where I had the band that we did all the fun stuff with, we had a female singer named Christina. She was great. Her and I were like really tight, and we had a nice little sound and a nice little following, and that was great. And then we got out, and I was just like trying to find somebody to sing. And then I was like, oh, I'll play guitar for you. You can sing the songs. This is great. And I would just like try to find like girls to sing, because it's just it made so much more sense to me as far as how it would sound, what kind of music we were playing, all that. And tried desperately to find a couple. Linked up with one of my friends who I'd known back in college, and I did a couple things for her, like playing guitar. And then she was like, I'm moving to LA, like you should come. And I was like, I'm not gonna go to LA, like I'm gonna stay here in Baltimore because it's where I'm at. And but she's doing her thing over there. She's blowing it up, so she's doing great. She's like touring Europe. I was like, hell yeah.
What was that, IBS? She's always on the toilet.
Yeah, literally.
The stress of living in LA.
Oh man, she looks so different now. But she's got a wild persona going on.
Nice.
Like,
that's so sick.
But it's very cool. She's but yeah, we have a couple videos on YouTube of us playing together, and one of them is great. The other one is not so great, but it was just, back before I knew how to play guitar to a click track in a studio.
Okay, yeah.
That was really uncomfortable the first time I had to do that.
Right.
But now I'm like, what's cool when you don't have to like find somebody else to do that. And I do miss playing with the band. But I think for the foreseeable future, I want to do like James Blake style, like just produce everything myself.
Hell yeah.
To find some semblance of a voice in there,
Nice. Yeah.
Like more of a style.
Have you been able to dig into DAWs at all, like since when you hung out with your cousin that one time?
Oh man, I mean we made this song together that day, and I get the workflow. Like coming from using like film editing software, like I get the workflow. The hardest thing is understanding how the space, it's like using a camera, anything, getting through the software. But EQing is something that I still need to do a lot of work on, understanding how to translate what I'm hearing or what I want to hear, and actually making that happen is still difficult. But I go by the reference track method, where I pull up something that I want to hear, put that in my headphones, and then I try to get as close to that sound as possible so I can learn how to use the tools. But I just haven't really spent as much time as I'd like to. That's kind of on my list of things to do, is dig into that.
Coming from like the musical ear that you have, like once you start getting into any kind of audio engineering stuff, like those are the best audio engineers. Like when it's music, like it's just, instead of like musical quality and emotion, it's just like quality of sound and like the textures you want to create. So the music is like the color, right? And then the audio quality is like the textures and the spaces that you're creating. So yeah, there's getting into audio engineering, like the main points are like space visualization. So you want to think of it in like 3D space, right? And then you just got to learn compression, EQ, and like reverb and delay. Everything else is noise. Like everything else is fun and it's cool.
Yeah.
Like if you get those like fundamentals down and like whatever DAW you're using, like once you have those things, you will be a producing god. You know what I mean? Like, because you already know like how to guide the musicians, or I would think like in terms of what you're looking for and stuff. And then once you just get those things down, like it's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be great.
It is crazy because I did have like friends of mine that would record stuff in the studio as part of their projects, and he'd be like, all right, listen to this piece of music, close your eyes and tell me if there was a band in front of you, where all the instruments are.
Yep.
You know, he's like, that's how you visualize compression and where things sit.
Right.
And my thing is like the music that I used to produce, definitely on GarageBand.
Hell yeah.
With the the shitty instruments.
Yep.
But I put out this EP.
They got a good Rhodes on GarageBand. Like that.
Oh, they do?
Whirly or whatever. That's actually
on the new one.
Yeah, I don't know
Okay.
about the old one, but yeah, that is like the one thing in GarageBand. It's like if you just make music using that keyboard, it's actually dope as fuck.
Yeah.
But sorry, keep going.
Oh, we
made GarageBand stuff.
GarageBand stuff, and I made like a little project, like a tiny little like mixtape thing, and it was just totally random shit. Actually, it's still in my dad's car. It's been in there for like, I don't know. I gave it to him. I don't know if he ever listens to it, but it's in a CD player.
What?
You know, so I was like, oh, but it doesn't sound great, but the ideas on there are pretty interesting.
Hell yeah.
But I want to get more into sound space and how to make it sound the way that I know it should. Because nothing is more frustrating than sitting down and saying like, I want this kick to sound this way, and not being able to get it to sound that way. But EQing things and having space for each one of your parts to sit comfortably and not like mash against each other. All those things. I just need to sit down and do it more often.
Nice. Hell yeah.
But I'm a hardware guy. I like. Like I would.
That was very confident. I'm a hardware.
I'm a hardware guy. Like
I'm with you. Hell yeah.
I like knobs.
Yep.
I like stuff that I can hit with my hands. Because it lives in here. It lives in the body, you know, like best advice I ever got from somebody, because I use the looper pedal a lot, and it's really stressful when you're like, I got one shot to loop this, and I need it to be like rhythmically close, you know, just keeping that internal clock rocking. And I'm not a drummer, so but moving your body, not just like tapping your foot or thinking about it in your hands, but actually like moving your body is really helpful at like keeping your time.
Hell yeah.
There's this, what's that guy named Mark Rebier? He does all these like funny videos.
Okay, nice.
The short little songs that are like hilarious, but great musician, great ear, but he literally is just like gyrating the whole time that he's performing, playing keys, he's playing the beat, he's singing, and he's gyrating the whole time. And I was like, that's how he keeps the time so good. I'm like, it really makes a difference.
Wow.
So there are times when most of the time, the performances that I do at the Depot, pretty low and slow, crock pot style, you know, misty vibes, you know, like low lights, nothing crazy going on. But if I gotta loop some stuff that's like at higher tempo, nice dance situation, I'm definitely gyrating or bouncing or doing something, because it lives in here. I can't just be like one of those players that's like, and I keep the time like this with my hands while I sit here still. I can't do it.
Nice. Yeah, you gotta get those Elvis hips going on.
Oh yeah, get something. Yeah, I mean, you know,
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2.
That's right, moving and grooving.
Hell yeah. Nice, that's definitely awesome. Well, I think it is 8:18, so this is about the time that you're willing to head out, right?
Yeah, we can wrap it up. You got any final
Oh me, whoa, that's my line.
final nails in the coffin you want to sit here? Okay, give me a question. Do you have anything in particular that we haven't talked about?
You're like the perfect interview guest. You know that? That is.
Oh, thank you. I was so nervous to come here and do an interview.
What?
Yeah, I'm nervous in front of the camera. I just get nervous.
That does not come across at all.
It's a good fake. It's a good faking. That's good. Thank you.
No, definitely. I will say before I give you the floor, thank you so much for coming and chatting with me.
Oh yeah.
This was a very rejuvenating, like exciting conversation. I was like asleep for 2 hours before you came over and scrambling to heat up some fried chicken.
Nice.
So you came over, and as soon as you started talking, I was like, I'm here. I'm present.
Yeah.
I feel it's good that I'm like lower than you. Like I'm learning right now. Like
oh no. If I could, I'd be lying down on the floor.
Yeah. maybe one of these days we'll do an interview just laying down. You know, it's like looking up at a camera.
I don't know where it's from, but this is like this might be like an Esther Perel thing. It's greatest advice I've ever heard. They're like, if you get in a fight with somebody, like your friend, you know, your lover, your parent, whatever, they're like, lie down on the ground, both of you next to each other on your back, and try to yell at each other.
Wow.
It's like incredibly hard to do. Like, because it immediately changes, like your body holds in all this stuff.
Right.
So when you have the ability to like move forward and advance or retract, like it's much different than when you're both just like lying down fixed on the ground and your body is not a factor and you're not facing each other. It's not as confrontational. I think it would be really cool to do an interview with two people just lying on the ground together, put the camera over top, and then just have them talk like that.
Yeah.
I think that would be really interesting to do.
You know, I think maybe a few months down the road, once we've done like some more musical stuff, I would really love to do a laying down interview. Like,
I think it could go really well.
I think that's such like a fun. I can see it in my head. Like, I think that is great. But yeah, I was just gonna say, you're awesome. You're such. I don't know. I hope you hear it a lot in your life. Like, you are a uniquely wonderful person. And is there any closing thoughts that you want to say, or like, if you were talking to someone who's like wanting to get into like performing more, or like learning guitar, like what kind of thing would you like to say to musicians out there, I guess?
Okay, start with this. Thank you for reaching out to me. That's like super cool, and I'm really honored to like, because this process of like wanting to interview me, like, it's just impossible not to make someone feel special about that. Like, I'm like, oh shit, like, that's great. So the respect is like totally mutual there. And the Depot has been such a great place for me to experience and explore, like, trying to learn how to sing and get comfortable in front of people, trying to get more comfortable playing, being a little bit more disciplined about getting out and playing.
Nice.
You know? Yeah. Not always being prepared, but being prepared to go up. Best advice for anybody who's thinking about performing or doing anything like that, there are literally zero shortcuts. If you want to do something creative, which could be so many things. You don't need to perform. You don't need to do art to be creative. You can be creative in 1,000 ways. If you want to do something creative that like betters yourself, your life, whatever, like, take the steps necessary to get yourself there. If you see weaknesses, like, attack those first. You know, like we spoke, like, karaoke got me like more comfortable on the microphone. Like, that was like a necessary thing for me to do to get a little bit more cool in front of people. You know, if I could, I'd definitely have my back turned to the audience behind a curtain like the Wizard of Oz. But that helps. But yeah, there really aren't any shortcuts. And sometimes it's totally okay to just do that shit for yourself. But if you feel like it's good to be honest with yourself and with your friends too. You know, nothing worse than like going through life thinking that you're one thing and then finding out that like you're the laughing stock of everyone around you because none of your friends had the like the decency to tell you that you could get better at something. And being able to tell someone that and hear that are good qualities to have in your friends. People you surround yourself with, make sure that they are good at that too, because like you can't really grow if you don't have that. That just cut off too. We got the audio.
Yeah, there you go, camera. It's recording again.
The Canon click of death. But yeah, I would say, if anybody that ever wants to get into anything creative or like specifically with performing, like with what we're doing here and writing.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
If it's overheating, I'm just gonna bring this camera over here.
Yeah.
This is old reliable.
That's right, old reliable.
Here we go.
The biggest obstacle a lot of times is just yourself. Just be ready, be ready to take some punches and throw some punches. Like, yeah, I mean, some people are really talented and some people are really disciplined. If you can get a good balance, like, you're gonna be fine. But yeah, you're never too old. I hope, all things considered, it would be cool if I was like 65 and I had a bunch of recorded music and somebody found it. And like right when I'm like, putting in applications to work at McDonald's because I don't have a pension to retire, somebody's like, we just sold your album to this person for a film. And then I'm like, sweet. And then I get a check in the mail. That'd be great, But I definitely don't do that shit for the money. But let's be real. If we could perform on a stage, like, and get paid, and I'm not talking about like arenas, I'm talking about like at that shitty bar club situation, but you have a couple people that just like are your ride or die fans, best feeling ever, best feeling ever. Depot, it totally feels like that space, and with any luck, that space and that place and that vibe might like churn out a couple really good people and really good musicians and creatives. So let's keep that shit rolling because it's restorative.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Hell yes. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been like really cool. I feel super comfortable.
Nice.
And not in the beginning. I was real nervous, but like,
Yeah. Well, this has been Alex and Sochi.
Woo woo.
And we are out.
Out.